6 runners set and racing. 6 furlongs ahead of them. Treanmor, the favourite in the royal blue jacket, got away to a decent enough start. But the grey filly, Don't Worry About a Thing, is the one that takes them through the first furlong, with the grey cap of You Sexy Thing racing in second. Treanmor taking a little bit of a grip. And William Buick alongside there, the pink colours of Fan Jove in the hands of Hector Crouch. On the wide outside on the left is Vlad in the stripes, settled well. And looking on at the rear is Start Me Up and George Wood in the black cap. The grey cap, You Sexy Thing, black cap, Start Me Up of the two Richard Spencer 2-year-olds. They're already down towards the halfway point of the contest. Don't Worry About a Thing now has been headed by You Sexy Thing. Treanmor is following through on the outside though, and seemingly going very, very well. In fact, William Buick is keeping a tight rein on him. Vlad on the far side is running on quite well as they race on down the hill towards the dip. Treanmor now has taken over as they come towards the final furlong. Vlad on the far side is trying to go with him, but Treanmor has gears to spare here, and racing up the other side of the hill, he's bounding clear to win, looking pretty smart. This could be a good one. Treanmor goes on to win easily. Vlad in second, and then Start Me Up, just deprived his stablemate You Sexy Thing of third.
Another 2-year-old winner for Charlie Appleby and William Buick, and a smart one, you would imagine. Justifies long odds-on favouritism, backed at odds-on as well, to go away and score by a wide margin. And wide margin Newmarket maiden and novice winners tend to be pretty useful. Probably beat a decent one in Vlad. They'll be happy enough with the two Richard Spencer horses as well, you would think, but they'll be delighted with Treanmor. €2 million purchase, bags a nice Sunday Series prize here, and along with it, a 50 grand bonus out of the Goff Sorby sale. But bigger targets lay ahead for this horse, you would imagine, who's done that really tidily and impressively, Martin.
Yeah, exciting to watch, wasn't it? You could see William, he broke out the stalls, and William was just at pains to make sure he didn't roll along and go too fast. He just takes back a little bit and lets the filly, the grey filly, Don't Worry About a Thing, make the run in, and he's just got a perfect setup. He's just getting a nice draft into it. But there was just a moment, Chris, where you thought, William just thought, oh, well, I better give him a niggle, and he changed his hands, and then all of a sudden he just jumped back on the bridle.
Yeah, it was about, what, 2.5 out, something like that. He just changed his hands, just a little bit of greenness. But then he immediately sort of, well, fairly quickly, he's back on the bridle, isn't he? And he goes from thinking, is he going to be a little bit green, to thinking he's going to win quite well, and he did.
Well, it was almost like he was riding a motorbike, and he just turned the throttle a little bit, and I said, oh, hold on, I'm going to go too soon. So sat for another few strides, and then he really did quicken up. I think he's really handled the fast ground well too. Really, what a nice action. Look at him and extending. He's put a lot of distance between himself in the second. And by the way, I think the second's a real nice horse. Vlad, he'll be winning. I think they'll be, the first 4 home look pretty smart. I think winners will come out of this, but there's no doubt the winner looks pretty special.
And you do tend to find, particularly if it's quick round, that wide margin winners of Newmarket races of this type, you've got to be pretty good to do it, so he must have a good bit of ability, and he does look a smart prospect, because I suspect that those in behind are nice enough horses themselves. They've got good pedigrees, they cost a few quid, not as much as him, but he's absolutely blown them away.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? And for me, I think if you're trying to read the jockey's mind, William came out the stalls thinking, I've got to educate this horse as much as I can. I don't want to hit the front too soon. I don't want to go miles clear of the field. I want him to learn something and get amongst them. And I think if he'd let him jump and go to the front, they wouldn't have seen him again. So I think William decided to make sure he passes a couple of horses, comes between horses, and just learn what racing's about, because he's just looks so natural, doesn't he? The way he extends there, surely he's got to be Royal Ascot bound.
You would think so. Whether there's something in between or straight there, time will tell, but that would have to be on the agenda, you would imagine, if he comes out of this okay. And he is 5-1 with Sky Bet for the Coventry.
Have you seen anything else 2-year-old wise you think would
been as impressed as that? Not really, no.
No, I haven't either. I think he looks pretty smart. I think 5-1, quite a big price.
Yeah. So Treanmor is 5-1 for the Coventry. He returned a good bit shorter than that today, Alex.
Indeed, he did, but he was impressive. He's not necessarily bred to be a sharp, sort of sprint-type 2-year-old, and obviously he got better the more that went on. Book a day, him and Albert Einstein, Coventry Stakes. That should be tasty. Don't know what the betting is between the pair, but Sky Bet Skybex have gone 5s. I believe Albert Einstein's 9-4. That's as much reputation as anything. I mean, he did look good the other day, but so did Treanmor look as good as that. 9-4 versus 5-1? Yeah, I'm not sure about that. And I suspect that 5s will go pronto. 100-30 on he was, though, Treanmor, beating Vlad 7-1. And he beat him by 4 lengths in the end, learning as he went along. That's pretty good, George, wasn't it?
It was a really impressive performance, Alex, and he had a nice way of going. I think I agree with Martin. I think they've obviously got bigger plans in mind. He was the first out the gates, and William took him back, which would not be a conventional way of riding Newmarket on the Rodeo Mile when the ground's quick. But they wanted to educate him with Ascot in mind, and he's a really exciting colt going forward.
Watch live racing now on racingtv.com.